That's right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, episode 26. I get tired of hearing myself listening back to some of our episodes, and for this one I listened back to mainly conspiracy ones, and every episode I start off by saying this is going to be a good one or something stupid like that.
And then we can't possibly live up to our own standards.
Exactly. So you know what? I'm going to call this one yeah, I'm not going to say we're going to have fun with this or we're going to have a great one. This is going to be probably, for me, honestly, in the research and the information that I've looked at and kind of dug up, like, this one's kind of epic.
Wow.
Dare I say.
So, okay, let me get this straight. You just said you don't want to preface this with, this is going to be a good one. And then you go on and call this one epic?
Yeah, because I'm
so you basically said, I don't want to set the bar too high, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it way the hell up here. I mean,
yeah, that's how I roll, son.
You kind of talked yourself into a corner there.
Yeah.
What are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, prior to the show, I was discussing with you, I found a nice gift set of an 8-pack of Guinness, and it comes with one of the nice new Guinness glasses. And so I got to poke fun at my wife real quick, because I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago, I saw, it probably wasn't that long ago, because I think it was on one of those Facebook, it was buy, sell, trade before Facebook had the marketplace, and people were just making their own.
Yep.
And somebody had like a collection of bar glasses, and it had like, I still have a whole bunch of like Sam Adams Oktoberfest mugs, had all kinds of stuff in there, but it also had 8 Guinness glasses, like the old, nice, like chalice shaped Guinness glasses. And over the years, she broke them all while I was drinking out of them. She managed to break all of my Guinness glasses. So
that doesn't seem like an accident.
Well, most of them were.
I smell a conspiracy.
Oh, good segue.
Right. So tonight I am, I'm going the fill route tonight. I actually am out of Jameson. So I found a nice bottle of La Fantasia Castello di Amorosa. I've had a sample of it. It's not bad.
It looks like well, let's see when you pour it. Is it a red?
It is a red.
Bottle? Okay.
But I don't believe it's a dry, because I can't stand dry. Hopefully it's not. Otherwise, I'm not going to be drinking too much.
Yeah, I used to know a little bit about wine, and I kind of quit caring.
I liked sweet white, and that was about it. But ever since Phil got back on the grape, he's been sampling a lot more variety, and he's usually not wrong. He usually finds a good one, but yeah, that's actually delicious. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Good.
No cork, so Phil probably would hate it, but
does the wood help the flavor?
Well, you know what?
I'm baiting you.
Not much with the flavor. I mean, flavor's flavor, It's just like beer, cheap beer tastes better to some people than expensive beer. So I don't know. You'd have to ask Phil.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking this tonight because
Phil that.
So that would set off a freaking hour-long conversation about wine. But I don't have any Jameson. My bottle was dry, and it really annoys me because I went over to my uncle's house Saturday night. And he's got a liter 7.5 of Jameson sitting there that he paid like $30 for at Costco. I'm like, what the? I'm paying like $40 for the liter bottle. This is crap. I'm so pissed. So now I got to drink wine.
No, poor thing.
I know. I smell another conspiracy.
So you hinted at conspiracy. You said it again. So let's take a quick trip on like where we've been with conspiracies, because we've covered a few. We've covered some weird stories. We've covered a couple
Well,
of
the
supposed
last one we did
conspiracies.
was weird. Let's call weird. The time travel.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that was I couldn't resist. I knew that would come up, so I had it queued ready for you. Yeah, so that was the Montauk Project. We didn't give that one much of a chance.
Well, it's kind of hard to with the information you started dumping out. Man, usually we give it a chance and like wait till the end to like debunk it, but no, that was no.
That had the bullshit meters like straight to 10.
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Yeah.
It started tripping over its own dick right out of the gate.
Yeah. Well, I didn't give you the fun, fancy stuff right away. I just went to the crazy, because sometimes you have to do that just to like the fantasizing of some of these conspiracies. Sometimes you're just like, you can get into it, and then once you're into it, sometimes you get a little trapped. And
right, you get deep, and then you want to keep digging.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to shit on those that are that just it was almost obnoxious, don't you think? Like,
oh yeah, that one was. But then like others like the Dyatlov Pass, that's interesting.
That was
because
crazy.
That legitimately happened. You know it happened, and that has legitimately unanswered questions. That's a totally different animal.
Yeah, that one was all over the place, and nobody can explain what happened there. So like, I love that one just because, you know, that it wasn't like mystical fantasy paranormal. It wasn't like all the things that, you know, go bump in the night. It was just like, what the fuck happened to these guys, and why were they naked? Why'd they run down a mile? Like,
yeah,
what the hell just happened? Like, it had a lot of questions to it. There was a lot of shit that happened, but there was a lot of questions to it, and you didn't have a whole bunch of bullshit theories of time travel.
right. And then the other one we did was the JFK assassination, which there's no paranormal craziness happening there, but that's rabbit hole after rabbit hole. That's like playing Super Mario Brothers and not being able to choose which pipe you want to go down.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it, because I don't know, the JFK one, that's one that sits in most people's minds. That's so when you think of assassinations in the last 100 years, that's the one that everybody knows. And like, I think I looked it up, or I think it was like 65%. I looked it up last week. It was somewhere around that, of people that believe there's a conspiracy behind it. Like, that's
right.
a widely believed one. So, you know, that's got some legitimacy. So, you know, the bullshit meter, it's not that high on that one. Like, there's some sketchy shit going on there that can't be explained.
Well, it's a conspiracy that, like, the evidence presented immediately made no sense. So it was almost too good to be true. It's one of those instances where, like, it makes too much sense not to be a conspiracy. So yeah, of course people want to poke holes in that. But then, I mean, it snowballs from there, and the wackiness starts settling in. But, I mean, you obviously, like, even the government admits, okay, well, we're not going to give you all the information on this because you can't handle the truth.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine the look you lose on that one. Jesus.
Right. But like you said, like, that's probably the most famous assassination in the last, 100 years. But as far as, like, assassinations go in American history, you've got that one, you've got Lincoln, and then obviously you've got our topic tonight.
Right. Before we get to tonight's topic, what about Elisa Lam? Like, we just skipped right over that one.
Gosh.
Where's your bullshit meter on that one?
Well, okay. See, on that one, like,
that was fucky. It was fucky, but like at the same time, you're like, that probably had the most legitimate, like, recent video evidence, but also had some scientific evidence behind it too. So, but it tugged you so many different directions. That was a really tough one.
The thing about that one for me is, like, yeah, obviously I'm very, I don't want to call myself a big paranormal
spiritual. We'll call you spiritual.
Like, everybody wanted to point to the paranormal in that, but obviously there was a flavor of that on that story. I don't think there's anything paranormal with that story. I mean, and we alluded to as much at the end, but like even Phil was like, after watching our episode on that, he's like, you're looking at somebody with a big disability, mental disability, who was not on their medication, and people who are out of their head, not on medication, can do incredible feats. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is completely explainable by a mental disability and one of those incredible strengths of feet,
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, that's another really odd one.
For sure. So you mentioned the second, or is the second most popular of the last 100 years, and probably the third most popular assassination of American history is our topic tonight. And before you shut this off, folks, I'm going to tell you, this is probably the most compelling conspiracy theory I've ever looked into of probability. My bullshit meter is at like a 1 on this one. This dude did not get assassinated the way we think he did. He definitely got killed. And the guy they pinned on it may have been involved a little bit. But the whole level of fuckery going on in this is extreme. And that's my initial thoughts. And Tony purposefully did not dig into this just so he could come in kind of with a skeptical mind. I'm not going to say that I'm going to try to prove him wrong, because honestly, like, I got a lot of topics to discuss. I don't have all the documentation to pull up, and we don't have the time to pull up all that, even if I did have it in front of me. But as I read through things, I took a lot of notes and pulled up, the big arguments on this that we can discuss. So don't turn away. We're going to start this off with Tony. I did ask you to be able to speak to the known story, because this is what all of our kids, we were at our age, and what the news has told us, and even a lot of articles and videos and YouTube. This shit's hard to find, to be honest, which was a little disturbing to me, because
that was the funny thing, because like when I was like, okay, this is the topic, I'll do some research here. Like, there's not a lot of podcasts or like available mini documentaries on YouTube that like pop up when you type it in the search bar, which like you'll get like a 2-3 minute clip. I'm like, that's really kind of odd. Usually
you look at JFK and there's
stuff,
like a 50 fucking million of them, and they're all bullshit, but including ours, by the way. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It was weird, because I thought there'd be a lot more readily available, podcasts, YouTube videos at the ready, but no, it was very slim. So, hey, we're going to corner the market on it, apparently.
Yeah. So, yeah, take it away, man. Like, what's the official story? What happened supposedly to MLK?
Okay, so this is basically the gist of it, and I'll be honest, most of this is right off of Wikipedia, but Martin Luther King Jr., American clergyman and civil rights leader, fatally shot at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968 at 6:01 p.m. King had gone out onto the balcony, and he was standing near his room when he was struck in the face by a single .30-06 bullet fired from a Remington Model 760 rifle. Bullet entered through King's right cheek, breaking his jaw, several vertebrae as it traveled down his spinal cord, severing his jugular vein and major arteries in the process before lodging in his shoulder. The force of the shot ripped his necktie off. He fell backward onto the balcony, unconscious. Excuse me. Shortly after the shot was fired, witnesses saw a man later believed to be James Earl Ray fleeing from a rooming house across the street from the Lorraine Motel. Ray had been renting a room there. Police had found a package dumped close to the site, which included a rifle and binoculars, both with his fingerprints. Ray had purchased the rifle under the alias 6 days earlier. Under an alias, excuse me. I guess I don't have that in front of me. King was rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital, where he died at 7:05 p.m. He's obviously a prominent leader, civil rights movement, Nobel Peace Prize laureate, known for his use of nonviolence and civil disobedience. James Earl Ray, a fugitive from the Missouri State Penitentiary, was arrested on June 8th, 1968 in London at Heathrow Airport, extradited to the U.S. and charged with the crime. On March 10th, 1969, he pled guilty, sentenced to 99 years in the Tennessee State Penitentiary. He later made many attempts to withdraw his guilty plea and to be tried by a jury, but was unsuccessful, and he died in prison in 1998. The conspiracy would be the King family and others believed the assassination was the result of a conspiracy involving the U.S. government, mafia, and/or Memphis Police Department.
Is that all of it?
That is most of it, yes.
So
I do have a little bit more I guess I could jump into here.
sure.
They believe that Ray was a scapegoat. And in 1999, the family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Jowers for the sum of $10 million.
So
During
I'll get
closing-
into that. The
Okay.
Jowers incident. Yeah.
Yes. Now, during the closing arguments, their attorney asked the jury to award damages of $100 to make the point that it was not about the money. During the trial, both sides presented evidence alleging a government conspiracy. Government agencies accused could not defend themselves or respond because they were not named as defendants. Based on the evidence, the jury concluded Jowers and others were part of a conspiracy to kill King and awarded the family $100. The allegations and the findings of the Memphis jury were later rejected by the U.S. Department of Justice in 2000 due to lack of evidence.
All right. So that's a quick run through. So let's start talking about James Earl Ray and kind of his backstory, who he was. So he is the guy famously known as the assassin who took down Martin Luther King Jr. But the guy was a bumbling idiot and a terrible crook. So
see that okay, right out of the gate, that was the one thing I couldn't when I did listen to a little bit of information. People couldn't seem to put their finger on whether or not he was brilliant, an idiot, or kind of in the middle.
So his father was a small-time crook, and so was he. And I believe it was a bank robbery or some kind of robbery. Like one of the first times he got arrested for a major crime, he dropped his fucking wallet with his ID at the crime scene. Like,
oh boy.
Okay. So bumbling idiot. But he ends up going to jail. He was like 7 or 9 years. He gets sentenced to jail after he drops his wallet like a dumbass.
Was that when he was sentenced to Missouri State?
Yeah. And so I think it was like after 2 years of a 7 or 9 year sentence, he escapes through a bread truck. Conveniently.
So he's so stupid that he forgets his ID at the crime scene, but he manages to escape in some elaborate plan. That's the inconsistency.
Easily able to escape prison. So and through a bread truck, no less. So there's a big conspiracy behind that on whether he was helped through that or not. That's a long conversation, but that's how he gets out of prison. He like disappears. The dude jumps all over the place, and is not found for quite some time. Now through his life, he's done some crazy things. So he went to, what was it, Mexico, and he like signed up to be a porn director. Like he just wanted to film porn.
Yeah, I did see that. Now I didn't know if that was prior to going to prison the first time or after.
No, that was after he escaped. He also went to like this guy was like an international man of mystery. He was jumping all over internationally. So he was in Mexico for a while, he was in Canada for a while, he wound up in Europe before he got captured. Like, now this guy was poor. He was dirt ass poor and never really made a lot of money. He was a deadbeat crook and he was poor at everything he did. Like, he couldn't even be a bad criminal. He couldn't steal good. Like, he couldn't do shit right. But all of a sudden, this dude gets large sums of money after he during his porn director time. He all of a sudden starts winding up with some extra money, and his porn star girlfriend and him had a falling out, so he ends up leaving. And at this time, again, like I said, he gets his large sums of money, ends up traveling back north, going into Canada. He has facial reconstructive surgery and takes on an alias, Eric Galt. So I don't know, Tony, maybe you know better than I do. How's the porn industry in Mexico? Like, is it lucrative?
Flourishing. Oh, in the 1960s, I mean, it had to be flourishing with all the digital print and the availability on the internet. Oh, wait, no, we're talking about the porn industry in Mexico in the 1960s. I'm going to guess it probably wasn't the best.
Yeah. So all of a sudden this dude, yeah, by the way, I have light now. I don't know what the fuck happened. My light just like dimmed out slowly. And
I was going to say, you kept looking over your shoulder like something was happening.
I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I don't know how long it took for the room to get dark, but all of a sudden it was dark and it was creeping me out. So I fixed that. Anyway, sorry about that. So yeah, this small time crook goes to be this porn director after escaping prison. And now all of a sudden he's getting facial reconstructive surgery and traveling internationally all over the place. Like, and nobody can account for where he's getting this money. Like, it's super fishy. Like, this poor dude that sucks at robbing banks.
Everything.
And he sucks at everything. He's not that smart of a guy. Later in life, after they capture him, he's got several interviews in prison. He's below average intelligence is probably what I would put him. Like, he's not a
wee bit of a simpleton.
Yeah, he's not an idiot, but like, you listen to his interviews and you're like, yeah, I don't know if this dude could orchestrate like the assassination, the third biggest assassination in U.S. history. Like, I don't think he could pull it off. It's just you know how you talk to somebody and you're like, yeah, nope. You're as high a level as you're ever gonna get. You know, like, maybe you'll get lucky and catch a break, but you probably made it to the tippy top. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But that aside, I'm a simpleton, by the way. So anyway, that's a little history on him. Now, when the assassination occurs, this is where things get a little weird. So let's go back to the weird shit that happened as MLK is getting ready. So this happens in Memphis, Tennessee, and this was during some of the labor riots that were happening. So what was happening was, I could be a little mistaken as I'm going off of memory here. I don't have this wrote down, but it went something like they were sending people home for lack of work, but they were paying the white workers for their wages, but telling the black workers they weren't going to get paid for anything. Like, so then they went on strike, rightfully so. They were like, fuck you, dude. Like, why are you going to pay? You know, it was obvious racism, and there were no laws back there. And so, you know, Martin Luther King and jumps down there. They march, everybody goes on strike, but it turned violent. And if you know anything about Martin Luther King, he was all about nonviolent protests, and he didn't want any of that. Well, this is his protest that went extremely violent, and shit went wrong.
Right. Now, this was the first one he did in Memphis, correct? And when he got assassinated, that was his second attempt, like a couple weeks after the first that got violent.
Right.
He went back to try to right the wrong, if you will.
Exactly. So as he's planning this trip to come back, there was a lot of people trying to push away, and there was a lot of people telling him not to go. And a lot of things happened before even that negative riot, the violent riot that happened, or violent protest. I don't know if it was necessarily a riot, but so like the FBI actually had sent him a letter pretty much trying to tell him to go fucking kill himself. Like, the gist of it, that's pretty much what it said. Do you know anything about that?
Nah, not really. But at the time, wasn't Hoover the CIA, the head of the CIA? That'd be about the same time frame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, old dirty little Hoover. I heard he was gay. I haven't looked into that.
No, I heard he was a cross-dresser, actually.
Oh, wow. Maybe he was both.
I think, yeah.
You go, girl.
Or did I say CIA? FBI, sorry.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, sorry, he was running the FBI. You're good.
But yeah, no, I think that's I don't know why that's popping in my head now, but I believe he was supposedly a cross-dresser.
So here's the letter. So we'll read it for those just listening in. It is fairly lengthy, so bear with me. In view of your low-grade abnormal personal behavior, I will not dignify your name with either a Mr. or a Reverend or King, such as King Henry VIII, and his countless acts of adultery and immoral conduct lower than that of a beast. King, look in your heart. You know you are a complete fraud and a great liability to all of the Negroes. That's not me saying it. I'm reading a letter, folks. Calm down. White people in this country have enough frauds of their own. I think that's it. But I am sure they don't have one at this time that is anywhere near your equal. Back in the 60s, they talk a little different, apparently. It's kind of like listening to people back in the 1500s. Kind of, maybe. You are no clergyman, and you know it. I repeat, you are a colossal fraud and an evil, vicious one at that. You could not believe in God and act like you do. Clearly, you don't believe in any personal morale or moral principles. King, like all frauds, your end is approaching. It's a bit ominous, don't you think?
I was going to say, wow, you just, yeah, right there, black and white. Wow.
You could have been our greatest leader. You, even at early age, have turned out to not be a leader, but a dissolute, abnormal, moral imbecile. We will now have to depend on our older leaders like Wilkins, a man of character, and I don't know who Wilkins. Who is Wilkins? I don't know. We can look that up.
I don't know. I was going to ask you.
A man of character, and thank God we have others like him. But you are done. Your honorary degrees, your Nobel Prize with a grim farce in parentheses, and other awards will not save you. King, I repeat, you are done. So, I mean, just we're 3 paragraphs in. There's 3 more to go. Like right here, you're just kind of like, what's it mean? You're done. You already start getting this like, okay, what's going on?
So is it assumed that this came from the top of the FBI, or is this more of an anonymous?
Confirmed. This is confirmed. This came from the FBI.
Okay.
So we'll skip through because there's a long, and it's just more dragging them through the mud, calling them names,
right.
and pretty much what they were going to do was supposedly MLK had some adulterous acts, and this whole like next couple paragraphs were really just threatening, knock your shit off, or else we're going to make sure the world knows that you're screwing around with a bunch of different girls. Okay. Like that was the threat. Now, the last 2 paragraphs are the interesting ones. The American public, the church organizations that have been helping Protestants, Catholics, and Jews will know you for what you are, an evil, abnormal beast. So will others who have backed you. You are done. King, there is only one thing left for you to do. You know what that is. You have just 34 days in which to do. And then, in parentheses, this exact number has been selected for a specific reason. It has definite practical significance. You are done. There is no one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation.
So, okay. Looking at the bottom here, but the implication here is that they're suggesting he commits suicide or else.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, but if you're ever going to threaten somebody, like, I feel like this is like the worst possible way to do it. For one, they start going, okay, we're going to blackmail you and reveal a bunch of stuff that may or may not be true. Then they suggest, well, why don't you just kill yourself? And if you don't kill yourself, we'll kill you. So why try to blackmail him, suggest suicide, and then just threaten his life in the same ominous letter? This is all over the place.
So you make a good point. Maybe this worked before.
Well, you would think.
Like,
I mean, if this is coming from
that's my immediate thought. Like, why would you send this to like one of the most prominent, leaders in America at the time? Why would you send this to him if it hadn't worked prior? Like, I have a feeling somebody got one of these letters. A few people probably did, and they probably just went in, like, maybe Kurt Cobain. And granted, this is many years later, but you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Maybe you got one of these letters, and you're like, you know what? I would rather kill myself than let that crazy bitch know I was screwing around on her.
Right, but at the same time,
get reference there, by the way.
Right, but at the same time, why would they send this if they're going to try to assassinate him anyway? Like, why give him a heads up? Why give that window?
Well, maybe they didn't want to go through the goddamn trouble of it. Like,
but still, like, if you're gonna do it anyway, what are you hoping? You're talking about a Nobel Prize winner, a civil rights activist who believes in nonviolence, and you're suggesting kill yourself or we'll kill you in 34 days. You're telling him if you don't kill yourself, we're going to kill you in this time frame.
So there was a lot of things. There was a lot of things going on at this time besides just the government not and J. Edgar Hoover not being big fans of him. This is Malcolm X is coming to rise at this time too, to where you had Martin Luther King had kind of hit his peak and kind of slowed down with this nonviolent protest, and Malcolm X was saying sometimes violence is the only way, and and you had all these followers at MLK started moving over to Malcolm X going, hey, MLK's way's not working. Let's go to this dude. So there was a lot of shit going on in the background, not only with, the racism and everything going on, but he had you seen his faction of people splitting. He's trying to take the godly route and trying to take the peaceful route. And then you got Malcolm X saying, fuck you, dude. Like, it ain't working.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go tear some shit up. Violence is the way to go sometimes. And hey, both of them are probably right, but
no, I don't want to get ahead of it, I guess. But I mean, are you subtly implying that you think maybe this almost could have come internally from his camp? Maybe somebody split off from his side thinking, okay, your time's done because we need, it's not working anymore. This guy's on fire though. Let's go with him. He's going to be the one to get us over the hump. Do you think maybe that's the case?
So there's thoughts around that with some of the people, even the ones that were with him the day he died may have been involved or at least knew about it. That's speculatory. But anytime I see somebody that was not powerful all of a sudden become powerful, especially after something like this, it's pretty sketchy. Who was there? Wasn't Jesse Jackson there?
Yeah, and I thought the report was that supposedly he was holding him as he passed, before he was rushed off the hospital. I think that was right, but I thought maybe that was kind of blown out of proportion. Maybe he was just kind of there. So I'm not sure how factual that was, but I'm pretty sure he was within the vicinity. So I guess I don't know exactly where, but he was around. Yes. But like you said, there's so many things going on in the background, so many names, that came out of this. So I get what you're saying though.
So let's get back to pre-assassination. So, you know, there was the first march that went violent. They came back. I think it was 1 or 2 weeks later, like you'd mentioned. They planned a second one, and he originally planned on, I believe it was April 1st. They were planning to travel in, but there was a bomb threat. So he got delayed in his travel. Okay, so first sign of don't fucking go. Ignored.
Well, yeah, the first one gets like big mob riot. It's a disaster. You plan to go on the second one and bomb threat, and obviously you'd gotten this lovely little piece of literature before going. Like all these signs point to don't go to Memphis. Yeah. I get it. Like it's not being stubborn. It's like this is what I'm doing. This is my, lot in life. And he did it. And obviously it was a bad choice, but so, man, all the signs say don't go back to Memphis.
Yeah. So he does get there. Here's a couple of more kind of weird shit things that happened prior to the assassination. So his whole entourage, they always booked him on a floor. From what I understand, they always booked the floor on the main floor, like lower level. Supposedly somebody had come to the hotel and said, King wants a room on the second floor. That was never requested by anybody in his party. That was a request that came after the original booking, and somebody asked that it be moved to the second floor. Now, there are some videos where you see him arriving and he almost walks past the stairs, and everybody's like, no, we're upstairs. And he's like, what the fuck are we going upstairs for? Like they all looked a little confused. Like, why would we be going upstairs? He doesn't understand why the room's up there. So that was a little coordination there, video with some of what folks had said. Haven't dug too deep into that one, but that's a little weird shit. And then the security detail. This is probably the sketchiest fucking piece of it. So the local, Martin Luther King at this time is like one of the most important people in the country, and potentially the most likely to have harm brought upon him. He's being brought to Memphis, and the Memphis police assume that they're going to be responsible for. So they're like, hey, what do we do? And they're told, no, don't worry about it. Stand down. We have local army units in the area, and local or something like that. And then everybody keeps telling each other somebody else is in charge of securing the area. Conveniently, like 3 different organizations are in charge of securing the area, and somehow the Secret Service gets named as being one of them as well. FBI is named as one, and an Army intelligence group is named as one, but none of them are there. Nobody is monitoring the hotel area at all. There's very little police presence, if any at all. Nobody's there. So that would be like
that's why we're implicating the Memphis PD in cahoots with the conspiracy theory.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody's on watch. Okay.
Nobody's on watch. Like they all confused each other somehow, which sounds pretty coordinated. They move his room. You get the bomb threats trying to keep him from getting there to begin with, and then they move his room, and now there is no force around the area to protect or even keep chaos. Because, like, I'm sorry, but like we're from small towns. Even in a small town, if somebody huge celebrity wise, like at the level that MLK was at that time, were to come through a town of 700 people, they'd still have fucking security detail. Like,
yeah, but okay, so I get it. Like the entire basis of it's a conspiracy. This group or this group or this group had him killed. Yet there were so many measures that tried to prevent him from even getting there in the first place. which if he didn't make it to Memphis, he would not have been assassinated.
Oh, or it would have been easier to assassinate him somewhere else. Who knows?
But the amount of effort that this all the channels that they would have to go through, and all the dots that have to connect, like get him in the right room, get him at the right motel, get so many people not to watch, and he has to be there to be assassinated in the first place. And so many
people
measures
not to watch is one that I'll get to, because there are 70 witnesses.
Yeah, but they tried to keep him from getting there in the first place. Like, this doesn't make sense to me already.
Just based on trying to keep him from getting there. It was just a bomb threat. There's a lot of bomb threats back then.
Okay, there's a bomb threat and a letter that we're looking at.
The letter is fucking.
Stay away.
The letter's fucking. The letter doesn't mention Memphis at all. It just says, "Hey, knock your shit off."
Fair. That's
knock your shit off, or we're going to tell people you're fucking other girls. That's all the letter says.
Right.
Go kill yourself.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's jump in. So here's some weird things. So that honestly, I don't think this has anything to do with the conspiracy, but who knows? Maybe he knew this was coming. We're going to listen to a little clip of the speech he gave right before he was assassinated.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
It's a little ominous, don't you think?
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
That speech he gives right before his assassination. Like, did you catch some of the ominous tones in there of?
Yeah, like, it's weird because you've seen so many examples over the years of people who met an untimely fate.
And they kind of knew.
Yeah, where you can read into it like they almost knew. But like, it's hard not to read into something like that. But at the same time, yeah, it's like maybe part of you knew. But at the same time, he's getting death threat letters, bomb threats. So and the position of power he's in and the position of influence that he's in, like, that's only a tip of the iceberg, I'm sure. Like, he's probably getting death threats and crazy stuff like that all the time. So
fuck yeah.
At one point you've just got to assume, man, something could go real bad for me. So you probably do reach a mind frame where you almost accept it. So I don't know. Yeah, but you're right. It's definitely
it's just weird. It's weird.
It is.
So let me close that little window. So this here. So when I talked about him being moved to the second floor,
yes,
this kind of explains why. So this is a look out of the window that he was supposedly shot from. Now you can see, hopefully you can see my mouse cursor there, but there's vehicles down here in front of the doors of the hotel rooms. Obviously, if you were a sniper and you wanted to be able to have a clean shot, you don't want to risk that. You would rather have a nice, clear, open view, less of an angle, pretty much a straight shot, a lot easier to hit.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a little visual to back up a little bit of that evidence. The other one, so here is, I'll pull up, here's the video, him arriving at his hotel before he gets shot. This kind of gives you, like, because I alluded to, like, it was just weird how they were like, we're going upstairs. Oh, why are we going upstairs? So, like, here's that. So they're exiting the car. And they're like, they're pointing, we going upstairs? What the fuck are we going upstairs for? Like, they made it a point to point up there, because that's not a place they typically go. That wasn't the best video for it, but that was the only one I could find kind of shorthanded today. By the way, I've been working since 2 o'clock this morning. So yeah, I was really pulling this one together for you. But I got some good stuff yet. So where are you at right now on bullshit meter? Like you mentioned you weren't happy with, trying to prevent him from coming. Like that one started giving you some bullshit meter, like little clips, right?
Well, it's not necessarily bullshit meter. It's obviously you can go into this with the mind frame of, yeah, there's probably a conspiracy here without even knowing a lot of the information. But for me, the bomb threats, the letter, and then the fact that you can't assassinate him unless he gets there, trying to prevent him from getting there, needing him to get there, it almost to me seems like there's multiple parties, trying to do one thing or the other. So it's not so much bullshit meter. It's more like just how many different groups are there involved. One obviously succeeded in their goal of assassinating him. What's the other group in this hypothetical trying to achieve? So I don't know. Like, there's so many different directions this is already going in.
Yeah. So it kind of all culminates here towards the end. So we'll hold on, getting the right page pulled up, and of course I got a million pop-ups. God damn it! All right, they got me. So King gets shot. It was somewhere around 6 p.m. He comes out of his
6:01 specifically.
Okay. So he comes out of his hotel room, and he says something ominous. Tony, did you look this up? What his last words were?
It was, gosh, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was to a musician. I can't think of the name, but
he told him to play. Make sure you play.
Make sure you play it. Yeah.
Yeah. The name of the song was "Take My Hand, Precious Lord."
Yeah.
And he said, "Play it real pretty."
Yeah.
Little ominous. Little ominous.
Yeah, there's a lot of ominous stuff going on here.
Right before you get shot in the face.
Yeah. Huh. That's weird. It is definitely weird.
It sounds terrible, but it's a little poetic. Like, if I was going to get shot in the face, I hope I say something like that. Right.
Yeah. You want your last words before something like that to be like epic and, remember something people can remember and hang on to, and not something weird like, damn, that chalupa was just too much.
Yeah, because that would be our conversation.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Fuck, man, I drank Busch Light last night. I got beer farts like crazy.
Yeah, and then whack.
Yeah.
And terrible. He was just telling me about his beer farts.
Terrible jokes.
Yeah, that's for the Patreon.
Well, and this is why we don't do stand-up, because, we'd get booed off stage.
No. The joke is there. It's our delivery that's bad.
Oh, probably. A little bit of everything's bad, but...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And back. So now, immediately after the shots were fired, there's that famous picture of everybody pointing the fingers. Now, that was actually taken quite a bit later. It wasn't in the moment, necessarily in the moment. It was a few moments later. But honestly, you talk to everybody that was there, and through the witness statements, and you read through the documents, everybody was confused on where the sound came from. Like, a few were pointing that direction. Some pointed to bushes. Like, they heard the gunshots from like 3 different directions. So at the time, nobody was clear on where this came from. But there were several witnesses interviewed, and So many people saw so many different things. Of course, mass confusion after something like this. And so with the official story, supposedly the shooter was not only able to shoot, then he actually had to break down and box up his gun, pack it into a bag, ran back to his room, loaded up some random shit, is from what I understand, it was just shit. Run down the stairs, jump into a car, for whatever reason, drops the bag conveniently at the front door in plain view and leaves before cops see. Super weird.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
No, so, that does not add up. No, I get that. Yeah, you said, oh no, the channel broke down and they all just forgot to watch him. But even then, you can't tell me response time is so piss poor on accident that he could have done all that in sequential order, left evidence and the weapon in plain view, and got in a car and got away. No, that's not how it works. That's never going to be how it works.
You know what else was in the bag besides the gun?
Probably a picture of him saying, "I did it."
Might as well have been. But so not only did it have James Earl Ray's fingerprints all over everything, conveniently,
right?
He went back to the room after breaking down the rifle, putting it away and put it into the bag, went to his room, grabbed full beer cans and bobby pins.
What?
Do you know what a bobby pin is? That's an old-fashioned word right there. Like,
I do.
Do people still use bobby pins?
No. Not really. And what would be the connection between bobby pins, beer, and a weapon you use to assassinate somebody?
I don't know. I guess I'd probably want to drink a beer after I killed somebody. I don't know, but did guys ever use bobby pins?
Acupuncture?
Yeah, like
no.
Why would a guy have bobby pins?
Well, okay, I guess I don't know what James Earl looks like, but does he have a huge, beautiful, flowing locks of hair?
No, sure doesn't. Anyway,
okay, so no bobby pins.
So then one of the cops immediately responding is dispatched to run around the edge of the buildings from where the shots were fired, and he was charged with going to secure the area and to try to help build a perimeter. And so he runs around the buildings, runs down this alleyway, or checks this alleyway, runs down this road, checks all the storefronts, and he sees this one store where there's people inside, and he pops in there for like 10-20 seconds. Now granted, as he's running, he clearly states in his interview that he was looking at every storefront, he was looking at every door, he was checking everything, and he was looking all over the place. Now granted, he's probably a little frantic. He's probably running his ass off. It's probably a little crazy. There's a chance that he could have missed seeing this big, huge bag with a rifle and all kinds of shit in it. But he doesn't see it, goes into this one shop because he sees people in there. He's in there, he says, for about 15, 20, 30 seconds, tells everybody, stay calm. There's been a shooting, and tries to like secure the situation there. Comes back out and all of a sudden sees this bag that apparently he just ran past it. He just ran past it, and then he looks back and he's like, what the fuck's that bag doing there? And that bag's got the rifle in it. And he says it is sitting out so plain and open. Like, he goes, there's no way I would have missed that running by it. But then he's like, it's so weird because like it would have happened. Somebody would have had to drop it there within 15 to 30 seconds.
Right. Otherwise somebody would have, grabbed it.
Right. So his thought was like, somebody placed it there. Somebody saw me go in and said, perfect timing, drop the bag.
How long would it have had to have been sitting there had he not seen it?
So he did not witness supposed car driving away. So James Earl Ray supposedly was seen driving away from the scene in a white Mustang, and he had the story, official story is he dropped the bag. This
Right.
police officer did not see the vehicle. Within that 15-second time frame, there was no white Mustang going by. When he goes into the store shop and comes out, there's no vehicle that goes by there from what I've understood, what I've
But there's
read,
the
and what I've
bag.
watched. But this bag magically shows up. Now, maybe he ran past and was just distracted and didn't see the bag.
But it would
It's
have
possible.
theoretically would have had to have been sitting there for several minutes, though. So
Yeah. And nobody touches this bag.
no, because
And it's, from what I understand, it's sitting out wide in the open, like for everybody, God and everybody to see. Like, it's the dumbest place to drop a bag.
well, no, not just a bag, a freaking bag with the smoking gun literally in it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So
Oh
anyway,
my God.
people say they
Okay.
see James Earl Ray leave in his white Mustang. Some people say he jumps into a car with a live radio, which would mean like a cruiser. Or they see two men getting to a cruiser, not necessarily James Earl Ray. So there's a lot of accounts of people jumping into vehicles around this time, and many accounts say there's two people in a vehicle. Then you
Now,
have
hang
that.
on. What's the significance of? I did catch this earlier. The vehicle with the live radio. What's the significance of that? Does that add some bit of information somewhere?
So from what I understand, the radio point out was that it was not like a radio like we think of today, but it was police chatter radio.
Right.
Like,
okay.
it was
Sure.
CB type radio. Like you could hear people talking on that radio, and that's why it leans to probably some government officials or police or whatever. On top of that, there were witnesses that seen somebody jump out of a window of the building that he was shot from, supposedly, and go running. Also in that bag was a pair of binoculars, so it gives credence to that this was a sniper team of two people.
Right. Yep.
There was actually claims from, which I'll get into, and I'll try to get into a little bit later, that there was actually two police officers that were expert marksmen on the Memphis PD, I believe. One had practiced with a special rifle for several hours, seen by the maintenance guy at the gun range, that left at 3 p.m. and never seen that rifle again, never seen it before, but he sat there for several hours practicing shooting this specific rifle that looked just like the murder weapon. And yeah, and there's a lot more to that one.
So, oh my God. Okay.
So anyway,
So-
James Earl Ray, he did have this
Yeah.
white Mustang. A couple of people, like not very many witnesses, say they saw him leave. Now, the timing of it is crucial, because some people say they saw him left like quite a bit of time before the shooting happened, like 2 hours before the shooting happened. His alibi, which from what I understand, and I haven't seen the documents, but I understand the documents are pretty clear. He showed up to a repair shop because he had a flat tire, and he went to go get his flat tire repaired. That was his alibi. And from what I understand, his alibi checks out. Like, he checked into a repair shop to get his fucking tire fixed on this white Mustang before
Across
the
town
shooting.
somewhere.
Before the shooting. And there was no way he could be there. He was at the hotel. He did stay at the hotel.
Right, but there's no way you could get your tire fixed, get back, do that, and then do the events that would require you to get out of the building, break down the gun, drop it off in perfect view, and get away.
Right.
Okay, so no, none of this is even remotely adding up. Like, obviously, I'd say it's pretty crystal clear that this was not a lone gunman situation, like you said, with the binoculars. That's pretty clear if those indeed were used, and that was the bag that was used. But no, this clearly couldn't have been a solo effort.
Yeah, and the video that I showed earlier, I'm gonna see if I can't find it again. I might already closed it up here. No, I still have it here. Let me get into the right frame so you can see. But that view that I showed of, I'll pull it back up here. From what I understand, again, I'm not an expert and I don't know shit. I'm just some idiot dude out in the middle of nowhere. However, from what I understand, this is and honestly, just like if this is through my scope, that's not that easy of a shot. Like,
no, that's a piss poor shot. Like, look at how good a marksman you are. That's not a great shot.
It's going to be tough for a good marksman could probably shoot you in the head pretty easily. But you need to have some good mechanical training on this because it doesn't show the room here, but he was standing in one of those like weird claw bathtubs, supposedly shooting out of this window. So he would have had to been like hunched down, kind of like off in this weird fucking angle, perched up on this window, and you got to be able to breathe, hold that breath, be ready for that kick, slow pull of the trigger. Like, you got to be able to time this and do this right. And for anybody who knows James Earl Ray, they said they don't even think he's ever fired a fucking gun in his life.
Now, you just hold on a minute. Petty thief porn directors from Mexico can make that shot no problem.
So, yeah, apparently, you learn how to shoot in Mexico. I don't know. Like,
he wasn't just learning how to shoot porn. He was learning how to shoot guns.
Maybe it was code.
Maybe.
Maybe he was shooting his gun. Yo. No, that was terrible. That was terrible.
Awful.
So with my awfulness, we're going to jump over. This is probably one of the most fascinating things I found in doing this. And the fact that some of this has been around and available for years just kind of pisses me off that we don't hear about it. And like, I talk a lot about mainstream media and Facebook, Twitter, blah, 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 and all the crap that they either suppress or shove down your throat. And none of it is worthy of your time. And then you start digging into something like this, and I find this magic clip. So everybody knows Judge Joe Brown from the TV show. Hey, guess what? He was a real judge for 10 years in Memphis, and he was the last judge to actually see this case before he it was controversially kind of pushed out of office because he flat out was a big proponent that not only was James Earl Ray innocent, more than likely, but the rifle that they supposedly found in that bag was not the rifle that killed Martin Luther King. So he brings up, another cop's testimony that he went up to the window where he was supposedly shot from, and there's a big tree branch in the way. And then within an hour, the tree's cut down in an active crime scene. In an active crime scene, they are they cut the bushes down. That's well known. They not only they cut the bushes down, they cut that tree down. Like they had. So these people are on strike, and somehow they get them to come cut all this fucking shit down in the middle of an active crime scene.
No.
Too much shit going on.
Yeah, okay. So the oh wow.
Where's your bullshit meter at right now? What are you thinking?
In terms of the story we're given and what's on the record as what happened. Oh yeah, it's an 11 because the official story being that James Earl Ray escaped from prison, went to Mexico to direct a bunch of porn, came back, and acted alone in killing the biggest name of civil rights activism in, you know, American history, and then opted to leave the gun out in plain view and then drove away unnoticed and then pled guilty and then decided he wasn't guilty. But everybody who agreed that he wasn't guilty was either removed from power or died. Yep. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yep. Good night, everyone.
Yeah. So if you weren't convinced yet, they actually did a civil trial. So he, as James Earl Ray was kind of rotting in prison, getting a lot older, it was hard for him to find anybody that would actually just listen to him. Like,
right.
And so he found a gentleman that a lawyer that would, and it took this lawyer, I'm trying to find his name here. It took him 10 years to actually believe James Earl Ray and like actually go, you know what? I'm going to represent you now. But he went about it in a different way. Instead of trying to reopen the old case, because it wasn't going to happen. Like they could see this wasn't going to happen. They'd put a kibosh on all this shit. But instead of doing that, he kept digging and kept digging and kept digging. And you brought up the guy's name earlier. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. It was this 86-year-old guy, I think. He was a shop owner.
Oh, you're talking about the restaurant owner.
Yeah.
That was a restaurant that was right about, like across the street. No, I can't find the name. It's right here.
So anyway, this guy got kind of outed by his girlfriend.
Jowers?
Yeah, Jowers. So this guy got outed by his girlfriend. So the day of the shooting, his girlfriend remembers him minutes after the shooting running in from the back door holding a rifle with literally smoke coming out of the barrel. Now, she called it a shotgun, but she probably didn't know the difference between the two.
Right.
He breaks down the weapon and looks at her and says, "You would never do anything to hurt me, would you?" And she's like, "Oh, of course not. Of course not." And she shut her mouth for 20 years and didn't come out until like the late 90s about it. 20, 30 years, whatever, however long it was. Like she shut her damn mouth. So she brings this to light. So this lawyer goes and contacts him. The dude says, "Yep, I didn't pull the trigger though. Like, yeah, this happened. I was pressured by not only the mafia, by the CIA and a lot of powerful people. And I've been scared to death this whole time to ever say anything because like I've been beaten up. I've been threatened. I've been told I was going to get killed. The Memphis PD, the two people that were possibly the shooters had, pulled up to his house after any time, a reporter would come talk to him, they'd pull up to his house and like be ominous and threatening towards him or some of the supposed claims. So yeah, the dude finally came out. They put it through a civil trial and they put his name on there and said unknown conspirators. The unknown conspirators, of course, we all know is, U.S. government agencies, but they would not name them on purpose because they didn't want this guy to get assassinated, murdered, or killed. But at the same time, like they wanted to just have some closure, correct closure, because even the Martin Luther King's family don't believe James Earl Ray pulled the trigger. They know it was bigger than that. You had the highest levels of government hating this guy. FBI sending him letters wanting him to go kill himself. You had, Hoover is like breathing down his neck, hating this dude. Like, what do you do? Like, something fishy happened. This weird redneck dude that drops his wallet in a fucking robbery didn't shoot him. Like,
right.
Come the fuck on.
So, okay. we should break down, like, okay, so we're implicating the Memphis PD. I would say their involvement is essentially they didn't do their job before the assassination, and then once it happened, they were blissfully ignorant
There was
on
probably a few
purpose.
complicit. There were some probably just ignorant, and some being told to just get the fuck out of the way.
Right. So I'd say that's their involvement. Like, I don't think they're at the helm of this.
Right.
They're
It's
they're
probably
definite accomplice.
specific people, not necessarily the whole PD. Specific people involved.
Like,
think
it
that's fair.
required their involvement, on a lower scale, after the fact and before the fact. So at the helm of this, we would be implicating either the FBI, the CIA, or the mafia.
Do
So
we want to post this episode?
I know, right? I mean, not us, obviously. Like, they didn't do it.
We're
We know
not.
that.
We're not saying that.
No, we didn't say that. That's these crazy conspiracy nuts saying that. So, what the hell? So, like, okay, why the mafia? Why the mafia?
So there was actually a history of the CIA hiring mafia hitmen. So there's actually documents of the mafia hiring or CIA hiring mafia hitmen around this time. Of course, they wanted Castro dead.
Right.
So there's a lot of speculation, and this is all speculation when it comes to the mafia piece, that they were using the mafia to possibly get the hitman and to help coordinate some of the stuff and to cause some of the mass confusion between the police and the different organizations. I think there might have been because if you tell the police to call the hotel and change the room or the floor,
Right.
like somebody's gonna say something. Like you do an actual organization, somebody's gonna say something. But if you if you got kind of that silent partner that's like, hey, scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Right.
Those type of people don't say anything when it comes down to it.
So if you got your ringleader and you can kind of outsource the rest of the tasks at hand.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
that's capitalism, bitch.
Yeah, that ain't no shit. Wow. So, okay. I'd say it's pretty clear that the story we've been given is all totally fabricated bullshit. We've almost got the truth on the record. We just can't say it is on the record.
Well, but it kind of is on the record. They had that civil suit. Now
in an indirect way, yes.
In an indirect way. See, here's the part that pisses me off, and maybe I should pull this up so I can fucking reference what pisses me off about it. So they have this civil suit where they actually go through the evidence that is available. They interview 70 witnesses in front of a jury, and the jury finds that James Earl Ray was not the gunman. Like, he was not the guy.
Right.
Then you have Snopes. You know what Snopes is, right?
Yeah.
Snopes says it's false. No, there's court documents saying it's true. Like, this happened.
What?
This is why I don't like. Yeah, a fact check website says it's false. Let me look it up. This is why I don't like Snopes. It's a total liberal, crazy, weird. They're so crazy.
Yeah. Pick and choose what's true. Huh. Weird. Not in this day and age.
Yeah. I'm trying to find. Oh my God, they made this. Oh, they've got some like retractions and explanations. They've got called out on here a few times. This thing is really long. I'm not going to go through this with you guys. Look it up. Go to Snopes.com. Look up James Earl Ray. There is a James Earl. Oh no, that's not it. That is not it. Maybe there still is. A history and rumor. Here we go. Still not finding it. I'll put it in the show notes when I find it, folks. Snopes is full of shit. I'm sure I'll find it. If not, I'll just snip this out.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so 70 witnesses in the trial. They go through the evidence and they find that he's not the guy. He's dead already when they find this out.
Yeah.
So like, no, he doesn't feel better about it, obviously. So they did it without him, but like, that's important though. The truth is important.
Right. And not a lot of these cases like this get that type of closure. Like you said, like we got the truth out there, and for the most part, or, you know, we at least connected more dots than were connected before. People that were implicated, you know, they're definitely implicated now. The people who we thought did it, that didn't do it, probably didn't do it. People know a lot more of the story now, and that is important. But yeah, it's so long after the fact. That's the shits of this. Now, take it back a minute. What happens if what happens if he never makes it to Memphis and the assassination attempt never happens and it fails and he's never assassinated? Like, then what?
I think he still gets assassinated just somewhere else.
Right.
It might be prolonged and it might be somewhere else. They had plenty of time to plan for him to come back to Memphis after that whole F up. He announced right away he's coming back. He wants a peaceful protest. Like, I
don't think it would have been mattered where. Like, okay, Memphis worked, but I don't think it mattered where. I think he eventually gets assassinated too, regardless. But what if not? You know, like, that's the big thing. He was such an important figure. Like, obviously, you know, posthumously, he still is. But had he not been assassinated, you know, like, just think of the heights that he could have, you know, had during his time as a civil rights leader.
That was a lot of thoughts of why he got assassinated.
There you go.
There's a lot of people that thought he was going to run for president, whether that was his aspiration or not. But you know, he was very anti-Vietnam War at the time. And honestly, that's what, you know, Hoover and a lot of government officials really hated about him. Is like, he I can't remember exactly what the speech was, but he was pretty much saying, your government's lying to you. The Vietnam War is bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't have to go die for this country that's lying to you. You don't have to do this. And a bunch of people, white boys, were going, I don't have to die? And they were backing the fuck out.
Yeah.
They were pissed. Like, you had a whole bunch of people just backing out of going to war.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like, yeah.
Don't mess with the war machine, yo.
No, yeah. The war machine, yo. No, and once people started coming back and telling their story, and the people protesting it, the people that were there, oof. Yeah, it's just such an ugly time all around. I mean, we've got so many of those in our history, you know, as a country, but you know, this is one of those eras that just sticks out like such a sore thumb.
It does, because you know, you lost JFK, you lost MLK, and you lost RFK.
Yeah,
like, it was just like boom, 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 literally, and it just, nobody's ever, like, since then, name a like major figure like that were shaking the trees that big.
Hulk Hogan.
And making, oh God, Jesus Christ.
No, you're right though. Like, nobody would want to. Nobody wants the spotlight
after you see them three get gunned down.
No, and just think, like I said, like, if those three don't get assassinated or die, what shape does the country take?
It's like, what do you want to be as a kid at that point? Do you want to be an astronaut, or do you want to be the next JFK?
I don't want to be president.
By the way, they blew his head off. Oh, you want to be the next MLK? By the way, they blew his head off. Oh, you want to be the next, you know, okay, you want to be Robert Kennedy? Okay, yeah, they killed him too.
Yeah.
Pick another one, kid. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, stop picking civil rights. Stop picking
I want to get the
that.
hell out of here. Send me to the moon.
Yeah, right. Like, I want to be an astronaut. I'll get the fuck out. Like, that's what I would pick too.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's such a weird era. So many weird things. Like that whole war thing, so many weird things came out of that, not just the assassination, the protests, but man, such a weird era.
There's so many weird things in this era.
Oh yeah, I mean, retro speaking, so many weird things happen.
I think there's so many things to like line it up with, though.
But we're talking about like now we're in the age of insane technology, and oh good God,
Come on. This guy's leading the impeachment on Trump, whether you like Trump or not. This is what you get to look at.
Like this guy. I can't even.
I love this one. This is so good. Oh my God.
Okay, that is just terrifying.
You want to back up? You were gonna point.
No, no, I don't need it back up. Like it's. I remember the Guinness Book of World Records show back in the day, and the lady that could pop her eyes out of her head. I think he'd give her a run for her money. Oh,
probably. Oh, what do you think about this? Have you been watching any of this, like impeachment hearing shit? Like,
no, you know why? It's just so. I can't handle the fact that like you and me and Phil sit here and actually like have a conversation, and it's not like we're all three in complete agreement with each other, but. We can
hold on, I need to put up a 5-minute timer, and you can't talk past 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not in a complete agreement with each other. We can sit here and talk and have a decent, human conversation about it. But then you go, even just online, not even face to face. You go online, which is probably worse, and you try talking to somebody who is so over the top, pro impeachment. You literally cannot have a conversation. Like there's no teaching moment, like, hey, I don't know everything about this specific thing. What is your thought here? Or, hey, my opinion is this. Could you fill in the blanks? They will literally bite your head off and make you feel like a complete idiot for asking the question, for not thinking the way that they think. There's no conversation to be had. And we've talked about the, derangement on here before, but my God. It's pointless.
I'm glad you brought it up. Like this goes back, I think it was like 3 weeks ago. And I'll be honest, like it was like 3 weeks ago, and I can't even remember what the hell I was doing, but I was like half asleep. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was looking through, and I saw somebody posted something about Trump trying to encouraging a law to be passed that makes it illegal to burn the U.S. flag.
Yeah, okay. I saw something about that.
So I saw people put angry faces as their Facebook response. And so immediately, like, my thought was like, what's your angry face? Now I'm fairly libertarian on most of this, and I get the libertarian stance. Like, it's a freedom of speech. And I was like, it is, but it isn't. So, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. Freedom of expression is freedom of expression, but being a douchebag's being a douchebag.
Yeah.
And being sacrilegious, and maybe not even going sacrilegious. How about just being an ungrateful cocksucker? That's kind of where my mind was with it. And so, of course, right away, I had two buddies like start jumping after me. And I've done this before to other people where I've had my brothers jump in and we attack somebody else. So it's kind of fun. I see what they were doing. But seeing what they were doing right away as they were trying to attack me, I was trying to find a middle ground with them, put my point out there, listen to theirs. And I tried to have that conversation online via text on Facebook. It's fucking impossible.
No, you can't do
like,
it.
these are people that don't want to have a conversation. They've made up their mind. They don't want to hear another opinion. They just want to shit on everything. Okay. So, but like, I got frustrated with it. Like, it really did anger me to a certain extent, because I did the, I get your policy view. Yes, it probably shouldn't be a law. Like, that's probably unconstitutional to make that law. That's what the Supreme Court's there for.
Right.
President Trump doesn't give a shit about that law. He wants the popularity of signing that law because it'll make most Americans go, you know what? That's probably the right thing to do, is just not burn an American flag. Like, we should probably be a little patriotic and at least say, hey, don't burn the flag. Even though we all know that law won't stand up in the Supreme Court. Okay, fair enough. That's the argument I was trying to make, and they just kept coming at me.
And it's relentless. They're not going to stop until
no,
they
it's
make you feel like a dick.
You're a fucking moron because this is unconstitutional. I can't believe you'd support this. You're a Trump-loving idiot. And I'm like, whoa, you just fucking threw me in that goddamn pile. Okay.
Yep.
And so,
that's the go-to. That is the immediate go-to.
It is. I'm actually fairly liberal. Like, you knew me in high school. I was super liberal. I was probably a fucking man. If I was in high school right now, I'd have probably been like, AOC is awesome. I know better now, but
thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. No, it's such a hard time to even look at a news station.
So I just threw back the point to them, like, after they went on their rant, they're tag teaming, like, both trying to slap around at me and take their shots, and I'm just trying to make my point of, hey, it's just, and I finally just put, I get it. It probably shouldn't be a law. I will concede that fact. I'm not against somebody trying to make it a law just to prove a point. The point being, it's probably not a good idea to burn a flag, and maybe you should have some appreciation, and maybe we should all stop being such cocksuckers. Like, can we agree to not be cocksuckers and appreciate the people that, have died and sacrificed? Like, can that be something we come together on, or do you just want to call me a Trump lover?
They want to call you a Trump lover.
Yeah. The shit just continued.
That's the win.
So guess what? I invited them to jump on the podcast, and they both turned it down.
Shocking.
I would have loved to have a real conversation with somebody who wanted to fucking call me a Trump loving.
No, it's easier to fight from a comment section or a message board because you can. No, it's all about the audience. It's all about having an audience that supports you and thinks it's great that you're being a dick to somebody else, and not having to do it face to face and not having to deal with an actual conversation. It's not face to face. It's not second by second, and you're getting to be a dick and get away with it.
Yep.
And I hate it. I cannot stand it. I try to avoid it, and I'm stupid enough to wander in to a message board forum and this impeachment thing, man. And I did the other day, and I get so annoyed at myself.
So bad.
I get so annoyed at myself for doing it that just, it's awful. And like we talked about it the other night, a lot of the claims that they have on this whole impeachment hearing are like playing telephone, in grade school. Like it's third
They're
wordy.
so stupid, aren't they?
Well, but they act like it's everything he's done is such a smoking gun, and like this is such an open and shut case. And I'm like, well, then why isn't it done? Why isn't it done? I made the point that this whole thing was pointless because he's not going to be impeached. And the argument immediately was, no, excuse me. My argument was this whole impeachment process is such a waste of time because we all know he's not going to be ousted from power. Maybe had the Democrats put a little effort towards building up some candidates that were actually likable and had good morals and likability, they'd have a shot at getting their guy elected and actually getting Trump out of power instead of the wasted process and money on doing this when we all know it's going to fail. And now, come election time next year, you're going to have a candidate that sucks that nobody's going to vote for. Am I wrong?
No. It is.
Oh, no. Yes, I freaking am. I'm the most wrong person in the fucking world, dude. Did you not know? I'm an idiot. I'm an imbecile. I'm ignorant. I don't know anything. I don't follow things. I don't know the facts. I'm such an idiot. That's what I found out.
The gentleman asked if you could be wrong. Were you wrong when you said you had a clear understanding that President Zelensky had to commit to an investigation of Biden's before the aid got released, and the aid got released and he didn't commit to an investigation?
Mr. I was not wrong about what I told you, which is what I heard. That's all I've said. I've told you what I heard.
And that's
what
the
he
point.
heard.
What you heard did not happen. It didn't happen. You had 3 meetings with the guy. He could have told you. He didn't announce he was going to do an investigation before the aid happened. It's not just could it have been wrong. The fact is it was wrong because it didn't happen. The whole point was you had a clear understanding that aid will not get released unless there's a commitment. Not maybe, not I think the aid might happen, and it's my hunch it's going to get released. You use clear language, clear understanding, and commitment, and those 2 things didn't happen, so you had to be wrong.
Ms. Jordan, the other thing that went on when that assistance was on hold is we shook the confidence of a close partner in our reliability. And that's
not what this proceeding is about, Ambassador
The gentleman
Taylor.
has expired. Ambassador
That's
Taylor,
not what this whole thing started on.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Ambassador Taylor, did you want to finish your answer?
No, that's good, Mr. Chairman.
I now recognize.
Creepy Ship's face.
Uh,
That guy's so weird.
So most of this is like that, right? Like nobody's giving any direct information.
It's just soundbite after soundbite after soundbite.
But that's the thing. If you'll go online and read these message boards, you would think that this is like that Trump is on stage crying because of all the hard evidence being thrown against him, and anyone who doesn't agree is just un-American piece of shit. I'm like, it's not that compelling. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not. I'm trying to find the funniest one I've seen so far. Was they're bringing up this I heard it from, and all these people. And I can't remember who came up with the line. I don't see it on here, but somebody was like, they repeat the line back to the person that said it and said, okay, so you got it from the 6th person or 6 people pointed this out from other people in one sentence. Like it made no, like he's like, we're talking in the 6th person at this point. Like,
Yeah.
it was so fucking ridiculous on like where this is a test. We're testifying. This is legal proceedings to remove the president of the United States from office, and nobody has their shit together. Except for the people trying to defend him are just going, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid. What is this?
Man.
Is this impeachable? Oh, because he has an opinion on this? Oh, okay. Like, oh my God.
Wow.
I don't even like Trump, but this is a waste of everybody's time. And all this is to they're trying to get sound bites. And we said it weeks ago. Republicans are better at memes. Like the Democrats are going to have a huge problem if they keep this up, because look at Schiff.
Yeah.
The memes,
already have a
Mr.
problem.
Turtle. Everybody used to call McConnell a turtle. Schiff is like the skinny turtle. He's a weird one. Like, ooh,
Oh,
he's a
man.
creepy turtle. He's like he probably likes little boy turtles. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, I might have taken that too far.
All right. So the conclusion here is we still have weeks and weeks of entertainment to, dissect.
Oh
on the
God, there's going to be
podcast.
so much coming out of this yet.
Well, perfect. So we got more stuff to look forward to on this. So, all right. Final thoughts on the MLK situation. What do you got?
I don't know. I want to know yours. Did I convince
Okay.
you that this is a real fucking conspiracy? That there is a real conspiracy here?
Yeah, it's not even debatable that what they put forth as the truth couldn't be further from the truth. And basically, the conspiracy that was established pretty much got confirmed. So, yeah, this is about as fucky as it gets.
Yeah. So, if you folks listen back to like the first few episodes we ever had, Tony's Mr. No, I don't spend time on conspiracies. I don't like conspiracies. I don't like to talk about conspiracies. I fucking got him on one for sure.
Well, there's
got
too
him
much
hooked, line, and sinker. This is
too
a
many
fucking
facts.
real one. This
There's
is a
too
fucking
many
real
facts.
one.
There's too much information. It's very clear.
All right.
Good
I
enough.
feel like mission accomplished. Like what's our next episode going to be about? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I thought that's what the whole premise of this started as, was to me to convince you that the world is fucked up. But I think between
Well, we knew
I
that.
think between impeachment hearings and this conspiracy, I think we proved the whole world's fucked. Right.
I'm gonna have to find a bunch of greatest hits of the, people claiming this is so open and shut, and we'll just have to go over them. We can do that next week.
That what's open and shut?
The impeachment.
Oh, is next week impeachment week?
Oh my god. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can't come up with something more interesting.
I'm sure we could get Phil involved if that.
That's an easy thing to do. All right, man. This was actually good. I had fun here.
Yeah.
Not fun. You're right. Epic.
It was pretty goddamn epic. So salute to Mr. MLK. Let's have a drink to the good sir.
Indeed.
And in his name there.
Absolutely.
All right. That wraps it up for the night. Appreciate you folks tuning in. Tony, I'll leave it to you for any last words before I sign off with I had a dream speech.
No, it was very interesting. I information I didn't think was going to be that loose and free and compelling against the quote unquote facts. Very interesting stuff here.
Yeah, and surprisingly, actually have to dig for some of this. Like, it is not all just laying out there. You actually have to pay attention and get to look. And this is probably 2 weeks of digging in, reading some articles, watching a lot of videos, and reading a lot of articles, like I said, and watching a few documentaries. Like, there was a few hours into just getting this information. There is a ton more out there. Like, this is probably half of it. Literally, this is probably just half of the facts and information out there, folks. So if you are a believer in conspiracies, this is one you can probably hang your hat on. There's a lot of info here. So that's it. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Tony, thanks for joining, as always.
Absolutely.
Hope that wine was good, man. You made it was halfway down.
I know. I mean, it's delicious. I highly recommend.
Awesome. All right, folks. Appreciate you as always. Love you. Bye.
Even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. Yes. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today